Hi everybody, it's Kathy here and I'm back with a layout that I've created for a YouTube hop for November, and the theme was nature. Interpret it how you will. So I have chosen to interpret it with some wild cockatoo photos, and these are the papers that I've chosen, and I'm doing a combination of yellows and peaches and greens, very much Australian colours, and very much the colours that you find in our natural wild habitat. So I chose to go with the cockatoo photos that I took just recently when I was away on a conference. I was in my hotel room and I was upstairs and I was reaching out to take a photo of the lighthouse because it was raining and it was better out the window without the water splatters. And as I opened up my window, this cockatoo came onto my window and decided that it was going to try and get itself into my room. So while I was there, it sat on the windowsill and it was nattering away at me, and it was trying to come inside, so I couldn't shut the window on it. I felt like the poor thing. It was raining outside. It obviously wanted to have a chat, so I shared afternoon tea with the bird. So I had my cup of coffee with some biscuits, and I gave some biscuits to the cockatoo, who quite happily sat there on the windowsill, eating away the biscuit and nattering to me in its own little native way. So the way I interpreted the nature for this layout was by using the wildlife, and it was up to us how we interpreted it, so that's what I've done. Now this is a tricky layout. I'm not going to lie, it took a lot of fiddling and it took a lot of thinking and rethinking and planning and replatting. So basically what I'm doing is I'm trying a grid style with a turn in the center and some split photos. So I needed to cut these panels, which are the bases of my photos, and they end up needing to be 6 by 4.5, I think it was. I think it was 6 1/4 by 4.5. So I have actually in the end quadruple mounted the photos so that they go on this layout, and I'm using some green for the initial mounting. Then I went with 2 alternate peach coloured patterned papers to go behind my photos, and then I mounted those on yellow, so that allowed the 3 mounting happening of the single photo, and then I mount them again. So it is quite a labor intensive layout, but the outcome is worth the effort. Now I will say I did have to pull it apart quite a few times as I tried to work it out. So I needed to structure my pieces. These are my mats of my layout, and I had to structure it so that I could put my photos on it, so they went across each of the mats and interwove amongst each other. So that's why I'm saying it's tricky. I had 2 portrait photos, which is this one. I had 2 landscape ones, and they became like a patchwork quilt on this layout. So this is the final effect of it when I pull it apart. But to do that, I need it actually to be together so that all the photos are touching. So that's why I'm saying it took me a bit of a while to work out my plan, how this was going to happen. And I finally realised that I just need to stick one down at a time, but before I can do that, I've got to add in that extra mounting. So like I said, they are being mounted 4 times, so it's quite a lot of mounting. I don't know why I did 4, probably because I just liked it. I wanted it to stand out, add in all the natural colours. Use my photos to guide my colouring. Like the cockatoo's crest is yellow, that's where the yellow came from. The green from the grass in the background. The peaches because of the tones in the background as well. And that's how that's all come together. now that I have these done 4 times, I can now start building it. Once again, I place them where I want them, and it's at this point that I realize, you know what, I just need to stick one down and then start cutting it accordingly, because I want all these photos to touch, because that's going to make the mats work. I need to have those spaces in there. And so here's my first one. I finally stick it down and I go, okay, brave or not, I'm cutting it. And it is quite hard to cut because there are 4 layers to get through. So that's why I've switched it over to cut it. So that's my first one. And because I want them to look like they're continuous photos, I have to marry up the edges by edges. So there's my first one there, and now I trim off the excess. Okay, so it is going to be like a patchwork. And this is where you have to be brave to cut your photos, and don't worry about cutting them, because if you do make a mistake, you just reprint one. But I do it one photo at a time so that I manage to build my layout one step at a time, and it all just sits on there so that I am making sure I am not making a mistake with where I cut the photo. At first I thought I was going to put in some dotted dots on the photo mats and then cut from edge to edge, but I soon worked out that was going to be a little bit too tricky, so I'm putting this one down, as you can see, and I'm marrying the edges up accordingly, straightening it up there and trimming off the excess. And now my photos are lining up and my mats are lining up. So now I'm on a roll, and that once I've worked that out, it was easy to pull it together. So I'm showing you how I've done this, and now if you wanted to have a go, you can work out a lot easier than I did how to marry up your mats so you can cut your photos accordingly. Now this one here is a strange cut, and it does look funny on the bird, but when it all goes together it's fine. So that's why it's about strategically placing your photos so that when you cut them, the cut doesn't cut through a vital point and makes it look disjointed, but this one looks continuous because of the cut where I have it, and the spacing will make it flow nicely. And I've got one to go, and already you can see that the cuts are strategically placed so that the photo flows across the panels nicely. And I do touch each of the photos to the photo above and beside, and that way it allows for that patchwork appearance across the layout. And the last cut coming in now, and that's going to sit there. I just need to stick this one down, and you can see now that I have got all 4 in place to where I like them. And regardless of where they are, the spacing between will only add to the overall effect. So I'm just sticking this one down and making sure that it's in place, trimming off the excess. Now comes the next part. So I now have 4 photo mats, really. These are just like photo mats, and I'm just placing them around the layout. What I need to do is now mount these photo mats so that they have a distinct edge around each of those photos, and that will tie this layout all together into one complete square. And now you can see how that's the image that it's projecting, a square. So I'm going to just trim it down here, and I will use my scissors because it is a bit tricky with the cutter, especially how thick it is at the moment with all of those mats and the cutting of the photo. And then once I've done that, I can actually adhere it to the page, and then I'm happy. So that's using the green and the gold of Australia. The wattle is green and gold. That's why I've got the gold background. I'm trimming it down because if you remember at the very beginning, I chopped a 1-inch frame from the photo mounting paper, and that ties that together here. So it's got the little white flowers on it, and I am now placing that down. So that's my base, and I always do one edge at a time so that I don't get that ripple happening. and then I know that this layout is in the center all the way around. So that's a little trick when you're placing it down. Now I'm going to mount these photos into place to create my square, and that will leave a peekaboo window in the middle, which I am then going to add a strategically placed die. So just make sure that this one's down. As you can see, because I had cut it, there are different layers and I hadn't put enough tape in, so I've done that now. As I said, I'm going to use this die here. I have a cockatoo, and I'm going to just highlight parts of the cockatoo, and I'm using this lemon squeeze oxide, and I'm doing his tail, his feathers, his crest, the edge of his breast, so that he has the yellow showing through. I'm going to use this wild honey just to ink the edges of him, make him stand out. And then this doesn't work as well as I'd like it to, but I'm doing the branch here with the gathered twigs. And then I get scorched timber for his beak, and I really actually didn't do a great job here. I should have got a smaller dauber to do that, but it's okay. And his feet. I'm going to use a black pen to define his eye and his feet a little bit better, and then he will be perfect to sit on the page. So you can see the eye going in and his little feet going in at the bottom, and there's my little cockatoo. Put a little dot in his eye to make his eye stand out. I have this little piece of barbed wire from a die cut that I'm going to put across the bottom, across the top of that photo ledge there, so it looks like he's sitting on the barbed wire, and I'm going to pop him up accordingly. I have 2 dies of gum nuts and gum leaves, so that's my tip to the nature there as well. And I'm popping in some foam dots here just to get him up off that layout, and so he sits there in the middle. And then I have got these little thickers, which I am running out of, which is a shame because I really do like them, but I'll need to get some more. And this one I'm calling tea time, because we were having a cup of tea together. Well, actually I wasn't having tea, I was having coffee, but tea time, and that's what we were having with him. So this is my layout that I've created for the nature hop. There is a playlist down below in my description of all the people who have played along with this YouTube hop. Please go and visit them, go and give them some love. Give me a thumbs up when you watch this video. Lets YouTube know you like what I'm doing for you, and it keeps my videos coming up for you to see. Thank you to all my subscribers who have come back, and to those who are new, I hope you consider subscribing. I hope I've done enough for that. Don't forget, you can always find me on my socials under Kathy Loves to Scrap. Leave me a comment, I'll get back to you. Thanks again, and here's my next recommendation for you. Happy scrapping till next time.